Now, in terms of where it's legal, and I borrowed this great chart from howmuch.net. They do some great work. This is a pretty accurate. It might need to be updated a little bit, but it's pretty legal to own it and to transact in it and to invest in it around the world. And a lot of countries are way out in front of the United States on this. Mongolia is big on it. El Salvador tried to make it its fiat currency. That didn't work out very well because when they started it, I think Bitcoin was at 40,000, then it went to like 18,000. So that didn't work. But you see, it's these green, the green shoots are places where it's legal to transact in it. China wants no part of it. Russia wants no part of it, although the Chinese government owns a lot of it that it has seized its own way as well. So that's where it's legal around the world. Now, if you're thinking about opening an account, right, and you don't know where to do it or how to do it, and you don't want to buy the thumb drive and set it up that way because it seems scary and complicated, and you don't want anybody to steal it, or you don't want your housekeeper to throw it away, and you're thinking about an exchange, there are plenty of exchanges that would love to do business with you. I want you to scan the code if you're interested in looking at this. We do a very critical review of all of the major crypto exchanges, to see which ones are best for who. And if you want to look at our reviews, they're written by our own editors who are crypto traders and investors themselves. And we have the best for various types of investors or traders. If you're a hardcore trader, you might want something with a little more horsepower. Kraken is that one for sure. But if you just want to open an account and start collecting it, start investing it, start learning about it, all of these are fine. Crypto.com is good, right? Coinbase is good, right? If you're looking at even Cash App will allow you to have a Bitcoin account there. Robinhood allows you to have Bitcoin accounts, and you can access Bitcoin if you have an existing account with Fidelity or Schwab through exchange traded funds that we'll talk about in a quick second here. So we talked about volatility before. This chart's old. I need to update it or have my team update it, but you got to have a pretty strong stomach to invest in Bitcoin. And people will tell you that they know why Bitcoin fell from, whatever that was, 1,200 down to 900 in 2015, but they really don't know. Somebody didn't want it anymore, right? It's the greater fool theory. It's whatever the next person thinks it's worth, and if enough people think it's worth a lot, then it's going to keep going up. Then why did it spike to 2017 to 20,000? Well, that was after the Trump tax cuts. So it became a little bit easier on the capital gains front to own risky assets. Maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe not, because it was going up from 2014 when interest rates were really low. So again, it doesn't have the fundamentals of a stock. It has technicals. You can look at patterns and how it trades, but you can't really open up the hood and say, what's wrong with the marketing department? They're not doing a good enough job advertising the product, or what's up with the gross profit margins? It's not that type of thing. Just make sure that you got to have a strong stomach and know that Bitcoin and all the cryptocurrencies are super volatile. Oh, I didn't get to update this one, but why has it been rallying since the election? Well, as I said, Trump promised that we would be mining our own Bitcoin and he would make America the Bitcoin capital of the world. But I wanted to talk about exchange traded funds, right? Some of the biggest money managers in the world in 2024, in the beginning of this year, started offering what we call exchange traded funds, ETFs. You can buy them for stocks, you can buy them for bonds, you can buy them for commodities. But the fact that we can buy what we call spot Bitcoin ETFs, these are spot Bitcoin ETFs right now, and put it right next to my mutual fund or right next to my QQQ ETF in my 401k is a very big deal. Now, if you own these ETFs, these exchange traded funds, which are baskets of securities, you don't actually own Bitcoin. You own an exchange traded fund that tracks the price of Bitcoin. And here's a list of the biggest ones by assets under management. When we talk about exchange traded funds, you don't just go pick one off the shelf. You want to look at the ones that have the most assets under management, the most liquidity, the most money running through them, a track record. They didn't just get here. They're part of a reputable firm that has had good success launching these ETFs, and a management team that you don't think is going to disappear into the Cayman Islands when things get weird, right? So I put a list here, but you could look at the top Bitcoin ETFs. Again, you won't own the cryptocurrency itself. You will own an exchange traded fund that tracks the price of that cryptocurrency, and that's super important. If you don't want to own an exchange traded fund, if you don't want to own the cryptocurrency itself, and you want to own stocks that are sort of tracking this whole ecosystem, well, here's a list of them. I mentioned MicroStrategy, the biggest Bitcoin owner out there. It's basically a treasury for Bitcoin. That stock is up 200% in the last 3 months. Canaan.io makes a lot of the technology for mining cryptocurrency, high powered fans and computer equipment. That stock's up 196% in the past few months. Coinbase itself is a publicly traded company and it's a broker. That stock's doing great, up 91% in the past few months. Riot Platforms makes equipment for blockchain, for the development of blockchain. And then Bitcoin, you can look at Bitcoin's price itself, up 76% in the last 3 months, up 50% since the election, because we have a much more friendly administration coming in and a new SEC chairman who actually likes Bitcoin. So that's one ways to do it. Now, when it comes to taxes, think of crypto in your account like a stock, right? If you make a profit on that stock and sell it, and you have held it for less than a year, it is short-term capital gains, and you will be taxed at whatever your short-term capital gains rate is based on your marginal income. If you've held it more than a year, it's taxed at a long-term capital gains. But if you haven't done your taxes this year, or if you've been doing your own taxes for the past few years, the first thing they ask you after your name, after your filing status, is if you own digital assets. Now, this tells you that this asset has come a very long way. If the IRS is asking you that out of the gate, right? That's the first question, the real question they ask you. Did you receive as a reward or payment or property for services, buy, sell, exchange, or otherwise dispose of a digital asset for a financial interest? See instructions, yes or no. If you put yes, then you're saying I made a profit on the sale of my Bitcoin. You're going to have to file that as a capital gains. It is a taxable asset, even though it is unregulated. The IRS is regulating it. They have their eye on you. One more thing about keeping your crypto safe and secure. If you're opening a cold wallet, Troy mentioned that phrase, right? Keep your seed phrase confidential. These are multi-digit phrases, right? Write it down, put it in a safe, maybe send a copy to your mom, but don't distribute it widely. Store it away from your device. You don't want the thumb drive and the piece of paper with your password next to each other, ever. Use two-factor authentication if you're using a hot wallet. That means what it means. Like, get a text message once you try to log into your account to prove that it's you. Strengthen your passwords, change them often, right? If you're opening a hot wallet, you can do what Troy said, download it from an exchange website onto a drive, right? Keep all the security on your devices up to date and back up that wallet, because it's on you to make sure your crypto is safe.